everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show.
You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Portia Mystique Steele?
I'm good. I love the way you say my name. I'm really good.
Okay, so I can just travel with you and say your name, right? So coming to the stage, everyone, right now is none other than Portia Mystique Steele. You'd be like, listen, I am so glad that you're here with me today, and glad to have all of you in the virtual studio audience tuning in. Today we have Portia with us, and we're going to be talking about how to kind of overcome some obstacles, right?
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
And so in like a nutshell, tell everybody what they can expect to hear from you throughout this broadcast today.
So we're really going to get into how I ended up where I am, being from Pittsburgh. I'm in Nigeria, and how I help coaches through the entire step of the independent publishing process. So
excellent. So y'all grab your virtual seats and tag some friends and tell everybody that we are in for a treat today. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, I want to make sure that throughout today's broadcast that you get a chance to hear from some of our episode sponsors. And so one of our sponsors is none other than Silver Shield Security. And Silver Shield Security is they provide you with state-of-the-art equipment, especially if you're anywhere in the Carolinas area. They have 24-hour monitoring. They have some great specials running this month that you definitely want to learn more about. And definitely know that when I speak about this service, it's a service that I also use personally. So Silver Shield Security, we're going to learn about them. And then we're going to come right back after this break to hear from Portia. All right. Portia, also, whatever information you want to share with the public, put it back there in the private chat for me during the commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody, right after this break.
It's not just another day. It's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
We are back, and we're talking with Portia Mystique Steele. And Portia is the CEO and founder of Mystique Rose Publishing Services. All of this Mystique stuff, that'll work for you. That right there is a stage name, right? Where they help indie authors through every step of the independent publishing process. She's 29 years old, born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then moved to Nigeria. That's a whole story in itself, so we're going to hear about that. All right. So welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show, Portia Mystique Steele. How are you today?
I'm feeling so good, so blessed. Thank you so much for having me.
So first of all, I want to know, and I'm sure anybody in the studio audience wants to know, is Mystique, Portia Mystique, your real name?
That is my birth name with the accent mark and everything. My daddy gave me that name.
Okay, so what was the rationale behind that name?
Oh, so as far as I know, he just came up with it last minute because my parents were dealing with issues in their relationship when I was coming. And it was after I was born that they decided, let's make this work. So I know he came up with it last minute. He was sitting in the hospital thinking about what he was going to call me. I don't know how he came up with it. I don't know. I have no idea where it
Oh,
came
that
from,
is
but he
so
just
hilarious. And then
decided
it's
how to
working for you in every aspect of your life at this point.
Yes, it is.
So he didn't know, but he was actually helping catapult you into your future destiny where you are now, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Who knows? So speaking of your parents, talk to us about how it was growing up in your household.
As a child, I freaking loved it. I was such a happy little kid. I did great in school. I was a showboat too, so I loved being the center of attention. And I had so many siblings. There's 9 of us, so I was always, finding ways to stand out and be my own. But
Awesome. And so now what made you end up, did you go to college? Tell me some more of your life. What was some of the
yeah,
direction and path? With 9 siblings, you had
well,
9 of you guys?
9 of us, but not all at once. So people were flooding in and out, and it was kind of crazy. So it's a blended family. And so in my teen years, things kind of took a sharp left turn. And so things like sexual abuse and dealing with, finally understanding that your parents and the people in your family are still humans. And so that label does not take that away. So it became a household where everybody is unhappy. I
Hmm.
wasn't really allowed to go out. I wasn't allowed on social media. I was convinced to give up a scholarship that I had won for college. So I didn't go to college. I did great in school, but didn't go to college. And I kind of just spiraled after
Wow.
16. And I tried my best to assimilate because it was one of those households where you must assimilate or you're going to be outcasted. You're going to be mocked and emotionally and mentally abused. So
Hmm.
I assimilated and I just was like, everything that the head of the household likes, I like. So being in that household, I didn't know. After I left, I had no idea who I was because
Hmm.
my entire identity was wrapped up in that assimilation.
That is bizarre.
So
Now, so
yeah.
you're saying a lot of things that I'm kind of extrapolating from what, and I'm not even taking notes. I'm going back in my memory here. What I understood you to say is that you grew up, you had a pretty fun life, you enjoyed your
Mhm.
life, you were showboating and doing good in school, earned a scholarship, but then something happened that kind of turned the situation rather toxic. And do you want
Mhm.
to elaborate on what that was that happened?
Yeah, it was the start of the grooming process that would lead into the sexual abuse. So, for any, you could just like Google search grooming. So, grooming is when you take an individual and you start to change them little bit by little bit, change the way of thinking, make them okay with things that shouldn't be okay.
But who
And
was
so,
doing this? Like some people in the community, people in your household? What
my
general
household.
in the
So,
household?
yes. So,
Okay.
a family member that I trusted.
Okay. Okay. So this was happening right in house, and you were
Mhm.
being kind of conditioned to believe, hey, it's okay. This is the right thing to
Yeah.
do. And obviously we know it
Well,
was not.
not the right thing. I mean, we knew it wasn't right, but it was just like, this is family, so it's okay. And anything you do should be for family. And
Oh.
so it was hard. And I knew it wasn't right because I didn't want to, but you got to keep pushing in order to
Well,
survive.
well, in situations like that, because there are so many other people that are watching this episode that probably really need to hear what can they do in situations where they are being groomed and
Mhm.
mishandled in some regard. What advice would you give them that may get a hold of this show to be able to kind of get
Yeah.
away from that situation?
I think the biggest thing is to recognize that if it feels wrong, it is wrong. And that took some time for me to understand, because in grooming, you're constantly being told that it's okay, that you don't have anything to fear, that there's nothing wrong with what's going on right here. Even if they say things like, oh, it is wrong, but we don't want to care about what society says, all that. So I think if it feels wrong, it is wrong. And the best thing to do to get out of that is
Yeah.
to just take that step. Because I was faced with the ability to leave, but I was too scared to.
That's what I was gonna say. I cannot, and I haven't been groomed, so I can't speak from that. You can only talk about what you know about, or you can get
Right.
other people on like yourself to talk about things that may be beyond your own scope. So I'm not the
Hmm.
expert in everything. I'm Kim Jacobs, the balance doctor, and I wear a whole lot of hats, and I've experienced a whole lot of things. But in this
Yes,
case, I
ma'am.
didn't experience that. So when you say just if there's a way to get out, go ahead and take that exit and get out. How do people take that official step to say, okay, arrivederci, I'm out of here. I'm using the way of escape that God gave me and I'm gone. How do they do that?
I don't know. I really don't, because what happened with me was so off the wall. So let's just take it back a little bit. So,
Hmm.
I wasn't allowed to go online or anything like that, or strongly discouraged to go online.
Right.
So I didn't until I decided to sneak and do it. So I snuck, I did it, and I went online to relearn German because I grew up learning German and I lost it. At that time, I was spiraling, didn't know what I wanted in life. I wasn't doing anything. I was sad. So I was like, let me relearn German. I ended up meeting this guy, falling in love, and we started a 5-year relationship online. So in that, I was like, I'm in love and I can't be here with this madness, dealing with all
Right.
this if I'm in love with this guy.
Right.
So I also started to freelance as an editor, which got me into Mystique Rose Publishing eventually. But I was secretly working as a freelance editor, and I was just piling up my money. So I had thousands of dollars just sitting there. I wasn't doing anything with
Wow.
it.
And at what
So it
age
was
was
just,
that you were freelancing?
I started freelancing in 2015.
Wow.
So like getting paid to freelance was 2015. So I don't
And
know
nobody in
how
your
old
house knew you were doing this.
nope.
And how did you get
Nope.
access to the internet if you had such strongholds
So
on you?
we had this old beat up laptop that my sister ended up fixing. And we were allowed to we were allowed to have access to the internet, but like we weren't allowed to have like social media and stuff. We had emails because I went to an online school. So
Oh,
all of
okay.
my siblings, we were all homeschooled.
Okay. So you had access to the internet. You just
I
had
had access.
parameters and things that were blocked and different things that you weren't allowed access to. And so when you said your
Exactly.
sister fixed this old laptop and
Mhm.
you ended up getting access to say, "Hey, I'm on social media now."
Yes.
Was this happening with other people in your household too, not just you? And I mean, we're only going to focus on
Eventually,
you.
eventually I learned that some of my other siblings also went through it. Now I can talk about my eldest sister, the one that fixed the laptop. She also was going through the abuse, but hers was worse than mine. See, I wasn't physically abused, but she was.
Hmm.
So, but she didn't know that I was, finagling the situation online, doing what I was doing.
Okay.
Um,
Wow. Okay. So
yeah.
you've said a lot. Okay. So tell us now you are accessing the internet, you fall in love, you become a freelancer. And
Mhm.
now at this point, the world is open to you that possibilities are unlimited, is what I'm assuming, right?
You would think so, but it doesn't feel that way because you
Hmm.
still feel trapped. So, yes, I'm falling in love with this guy. Yes, I have money in my PayPal account just sitting there, but what am I going to do with it? I can't leave. So, it wasn't until there was a physical altercation and my sister was really beat up. And she was like, I have to make a decision. Either you and I are going to leave together or this is going to be the end for me. And
Hmm.
I knew she was self harming in the past. So, it was just a hop, skip, and a jump to know what she was talking about.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, okay. So I fasted for 4 days.
Okay.
And I was like, God, I need you to tell me what to do. Do we leave? I got the money, I got
Right.
the man.
You got somebody on the other side waiting for you. He like, baby,
Somebody
I've been
else
with
to
you for
buy.
5 years. Okay.
Exactly. So I'm like, what do I do? But I didn't want to just up and leave. I wanted to tell my dad, who's the center of all of this. I wanted to tell him, listen, I've been lying to you. I got me a man. I got some money. And me and my sister, we finna roll out. And my sister said, if you do that, you're leaving in a body bag. She told me, she said, don't do it. If you do that, you will leave in a body bag. Those were her words. I was like, okay. So we left.
Okay, so I know everybody in the studio audience, y'all like, come on, tell us what happened. Wait. We are going to take a commercial break. Y'all know how it works on you. Any other show that you be watching, you have to take that quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to hear how Portia Mystique Steele got out of that situation. I am eager to hear what the outcome is of this. We'll be right back. Wow.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, everyone. Again, that is Get Insured Solutions. They work with you to be able to help you keep more of the money in you and your family's pocket. If something should happen to a loved one, you're not sitting there with everything having to go out of pocket. So definitely make sure you all reach out to Get Insured Solutions. Let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you over to them, and I'll put their information up again. And 704-499-3616. Listen, tell us how you, and I suppose your sister, the two of you?
Mm-hmm.
Did the two of you leave together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell us how that happened, please.
Yes. So we have this.
Wait. It sounds like maybe people are communicating with you because it stopped right then. While we're doing that, I do want to let you all know how you can stay connected with the Kim Jacobs Show. Make sure you all like and follow our social media pages while Portia's getting that worked out. Right, everyone, we're back. So Portia, tell us how you and your sister got out of that situation. I still can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. For some reason, it sounds like real far away. Well, what I'm going to do while I can hear you now. Yes. Okay. I was going to go to some of the virtual studio audience comments. They like, you got something you could do anyway, Kim, like acknowledge our comments over here. Okay. Go ahead and tell us.
Yeah. Okay. So we had this whole elaborate plan in the way we were going to leave, but God said, no, that's not what's going to happen. So what happened was, ironically, we have a house full of people. Somehow, some way, everybody was put away in their rooms asleep for the night, which never happens.
Wow.
Never happens. And everybody was away and put away. And me and my sister at 3 a.m. in the morning, we had enough window, just the perfect time to leave.
Wow.
And we left. We just took our things and we left.
And nobody came after you. Nobody pursued you. You just went on with your life.
I found out later that they did. So I don't know to what extent or how far, but I had an email drafted to my dad to tell him that we were okay and we just left. And okay. Here's why.
So you left, and so did he have knowledge that all of this was going on? So no. when you brought it to his attention, then he was aware all of this happened. I have to save myself and spare myself and my sister, and we're going to go on with our lives. So
so he knew what was happening. He didn't know all the secret stuff that I was dating online, that I had a job, and that me and my sister were planning to leave, but he was the reason my sister wanted to leave.
Oh,
He was
okay,
the
okay.
reason I
So
wanted
it
to
was some
leave.
stuff linked with him in the situation that, okay, so all right. So you get out, you and your sister, you're free, you're safe. Where do you go?
So I stayed with a friend that I had met online who was in the area, and she went and she stayed with a friend that she knew. So
Hmm.
while we were dealing with this, I had purchased my plane ticket. I was already planning to go see the guy that I was dating
Hmm.
online. So I stayed with this friend for 3 months, and then I left. And she stayed with her friend for some time, and then she moved to another state.
Hmm.
Yes.
So
So
you're now with you're with your young man that you met online, and you're
mhm,
where? Where did you go?
Nigeria. So
Okay, so this is where the Nigeria piece comes. And I was wondering, so now this girl is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when I was reading up on your story. And I was like, now how
mhm,
she go from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then she ends up in Nigeria? What was the what happened? What went down? So now was the guy that you actually met online? You know, how sometimes you'll meet people online, right? And they are nothing
right.
like you be like, boy, if you don't get out of here, you ain't nothing like what you acted like online. You tripping, right? So
Exactly.
was
Uh-huh.
was how was he?
He was exactly the same. The only thing that shocked me was how tall he was.
So he was significantly taller than you?
Yes, yes. Okay. So in Nigeria, they use the metric system. We use the imperial system. I never Googled it when he said how tall he was in meters. So I assumed he was like 5'10". Turns out he's like 6'2", 6'3",
Now, how
the
tall are
whole thing.
you?
I'm 5'4".
Oh, so he's like, so y'all going somewhere? He way up here. Okay, that's cute. Let me just put some pictures up and show y'all.
See,
He's
I'm
well.
wearing
First of
heels.
all, huh?
I'm wearing heels.
I don't care what you wearing. That dress, you look slamming, right?
Oh, thank
Everybody put
you.
green dress is rocking in the picture, right? She is working her dress. And you all look absolutely beautiful together. So now what's his name?
James.
All right. And why you let me let everybody see your face. What's his name? I'm
James.
like, why you put your eyeball all the way in the ceiling and you got really, 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 really smiley with the back teeth showing. So James was everything you thought he would be. And
And
to
more.
and more. And to what extent was he everything? Tell me more about this relationship.
So when we were dating online, he does, I guess, what typical guys do. So he's like extra romantic to try to get me, the whole thing. So he's like smooth talking. He talk real low. I'm like, oh,
He
this
like
guy's
so he was like this. Hey Portia,
nice.
how you doing? You like you need to raise your voice or something because I know you don't talk like
Exactly.
that all the time.
But I was loving it, Miss Kim. I was loving it, so it was okay.
Okay.
But when I came to Nigeria and I was able to see like the vulnerable side of him, so the day that I arrived, he actually tricked me. So he's a medical student, so he was taking exams the day I came. So his cousin and his eldest brother, who was paying for my hotel and stuff, he was helping me pay for stuff. They picked me up from the airport, not even my husband. So we traveled to the hotel and I call him up. I hear traffic in the background, noise, horns just going off. He's like, I'm 5 hours away. I'm sorry. I'm like, 5 hours? And I was like, you know what? I waited 5 years. I can wait 5 hours.
Right, right.
So the cousin, she takes me down to the lobby. She says she wants to get some food. I'm like, I can't eat. My stomach is in knots. I've never been on a plane before. Here I am on a 14-hour flight in a new country, seeing a man that I never met. There's no way I can eat.
Right, right. You had to
So
get your passport and everything, right?
yes, I had to get my passport. I had to sign up for STEP. I had to get my visa. It was a
It was
lot.
a lot. That's a
It
lot.
was a lot.
Woo,
Yeah.
girl, you telling us a lot of stuff here. I hope y'all are sharing this broadcast because what this woman is saying is stuff that is like on a straight movie. And she's here on the Kim Jacobs show sharing her story. And I don't even know what title did we have. We had independent book publishing as the title. This ain't got nothing to do.
No, how to achieve your ultimate goals, which is still within. We're still on track.
Okay. So we still on track with the topic for today. But let me also interject for a second that at right around 11:30 today, mid-show, you're going to get to hear from one of our episode sponsors. You all often hear me talk about attorney Charles Everidge and Hunter Everidge Law Firm. Well, one of the attorneys in their practice is Sarah Knox, attorney Sarah Knox. And she's going to be talking today for a brief moment during this broadcast on, do you have that $1 million accident claim for real? Now, that's a question a lot of people have questions about. So we're going to talk to her. If you have questions about any accidents that you've been in, you get your questions prepared, because she's going to come on and we'll talk with her for a few moments during this broadcast. All right. So go ahead and talk to us some more, Portia. So you wait in 5 hours. They take you to the hotel. It's time to eat. You're like, I can't eat. Look, I'm just happy to be here and being able to hopefully get to meet this man I done been online with for 50,000 years. Right?
Exactly. So maybe we were in the hotel maybe 30 minutes before we went down to the lobby. And that's when he said he was 5 hours away. So we get to the lobby and I'm talking to the brother, and I look out the corner of my eye and I see him standing right there. His tall self. And I was just like, oh my, I was so shocked. And so I just ran over and I literally pounced and like jumped on him like a flying squirrel. I just like pounced and jumped up and wrapped my arms and my legs around him, and he spun me around and we kissed. And then that's when he dropped down to one knee and proposed.
Oh, is this the picture I have?
That's the picture you have. That one.
Wait. Let me get this clear for a second, because I want to make sure I understand this. You traveled in that jumpsuit, that beautiful yellow jumpsuit?
No, ma'am. I had on jeans and a t-shirt, and I got dressed in the plane when we were over Africa.
Oh, okay. I was like, that right there is not how I travel. You'd be like, I be having on a baseball cap. People would definitely not know I'm. They'll be like, who you? Who you? Don't worry about that. You just going to be who you. Okay, so now you jump into his arms and he spins you around and he drops to one knee. And he does what?
He asks me to marry him, but I don't remember what he says though, but there's like 10 sentences in between where he's telling me I don't even know what. I'm reeling. So I don't remember what he says. Let's assume he loves me and he wants me to, something. I don't know.
The point is, he asked you to marry him. You say clearly yes. And
yes, it took some time, but I said yes.
But the thing is, the whole time he's this knight in shining armor coming, and he's everything you thought he would be.
Exactly.
And he proposes to her in Nigeria, this girl that came from Pittsburgh in a horrific situation that was very toxic, dealing with sexual abuse and all kinds of things in her childhood, only to be able to get free and to be able to get to Nigeria and to be able to marry the love of her life. And I am so excited that she's here with us today. Portia Mystique Steele. Yay for you. Okay. So listen, virtual studio audience, I see all of your comments pouring in. I am going to make sure I acknowledge them towards the second half of the broadcast. Right now, what I'm going to do is take a commercial break, and I'm going to come back with attorney Sarah Knox, who is representing today Hunter Everidge Law Firm. You all hear me talk about them all the time. And so attorney Knox is here today. So Portia, when we come back, what I want to talk about the second half is your independent book publishing process, how you help coaches and how you help people become an independent book publisher versus a self-publisher. We're going to talk about the difference right after we talk with attorney Sarah Knox. So listen, I'm going to swap you all out. Stay there for a minute. And what I'm going to do is go to a commercial break to remind you all of our episode sponsor, which is Hunter Everidge Law Firm. And then when you come back, guess what? You're going to hear from attorney Knox. Let me go here. Here we go.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter and Everett, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
All right, everyone, and we are back. We are talking with attorney Sarah Knox. How are you, attorney Sarah?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Well, I'm so glad to have you. And I do want to keep up here so you'll know that Attorney Charles Everett and Hunter Everett Law Firm, they're located in the North Carolina area. They also have multiple other locations. One is in Richmond, Virginia. One is in Montgomery, Alabama. So definitely reach out to them to learn more about their services. So today we're actually talking about accidents and do people have these $1 million claims. So I'm going to mute myself when you're talking. That way maybe it'll take down some of the echo, and let me hear what you want to talk about pertaining to that from an attorney perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so often to hear out there like, hey, there was this $1 million accident. And so often people will come in and be like, what's my case worth? Like, how do I know if I have $1 million case or not? And what most people don't realize is that the value of a case is directly related to the amount of treatment received from the accident. So if there's a wrongful death, meaning someone died in a car accident, if there's extensive surgeries, extensive scarring, that can result in the higher value cases. That also depends on how much coverage is available. So the minimum amount of coverage required in North Carolina is $30,000 per person or $60,000 per accident. So that means if you get in a nasty car accident, you have a broken leg, it takes a surgery, it takes months of rehabilitation. But if the driver who hit you only has minimum coverage, meaning $30,000, the most you will be able to recover for that accident is the $30,000, which is not a lot of money when you're talking about a broken leg. Now, if someone like Jeffrey Bezos is the one who hit you, who's independently wealthy, that's a different game. You might be able to get access to his bank account, to his fancy cars, maybe something like that. But for the average person who hits you, their house is protected, their car is protected, their wages are protected. You can't garnish their wages and try to get extra money. You're capped at that $30,000 if they have a minimum limit.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead, jump right in.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, I wonder then why are there so many situations, and I'm only speaking from what I think, I see on TV commercials and it's like, and we got millions for you. And I'm making it up. But the point is, there are so many actual situations that we get to see on commercials, attorney Sarah, that it's not really the reality when people are going through their own individual cases. Why is that the case from your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So attorneys like me who work primarily with injury cases have hundreds or thousands of cases a year. So you're dealing with people with minimum limits and trucking cases, which can have like $1 million limits. So the ones that are going to show are the best, most shocking numbers. So even though a lot of their clientele had lower injury value, maybe didn't have any broken bones, had low back pain, had neck pain, went to a chiropractor, just did some physical therapy, got them a very respectable settlement, but they're not going to say, hey, look at this $15,000 claim I got, because it's not as impressive as saying, hey, I got a $1.2 million judgment against this trucking company. So they're going for the wow factor, for the shock factor. They aren't showing you the whole range of cases that they have. And even at our firm, we definitely have some high dollar, high value wrongful death claims, serious catastrophic injuries. But we also have a lot of claims that are just average people that were in a car accident and got seriously injured, but it wasn't something catastrophic like a broken bone, a broken neck, anything like that. But I try to remind all of my clients it's important that you have your own insurance that's good insurance, because you don't know what everyone else has out there. And people aren't paying attention, will run into you and hurt you and maybe won't have enough to cover your injuries, and that's why you turn around and go to your own insurance and say, hey, this is why I pay you guys every month. Take care of me.
That's really very enlightening, to say the least, because I know I didn't know that. So I'm really grateful that you're coming on today and talking from that perspective. And I also wanted to know, and please, by all means, in the virtual studio audience, type your own questions. This is a free consultation, so you better go ahead and take advantage of it, okay? If not, I'll make sure you have a way of getting in contact with them. But another thought that crossed my mind, Sarah, is like a lot of times you'll see if someone calls and says, listen, I was in an accident. And I know I've had situations that I have one of my children, he was in an accident, and I call and they were like, was there any property damage? I'm like, what? I said, I was in an accident. Why are you asking me about property damage? So I wanted you to kind of speak to that too, Attorney Sarah, as to why adjusters are kind of like focused more on the property damage if the person is saying they're injured. Talk to me.
Yeah, so what's really interesting about when someone's in a motor vehicle collision, a lot of times there's one adjuster that deals with the property damage, one adjuster that deals with the bodily injury claim. And usually once the property damage is done, it should never come up again, but it does. Because when the adjuster that deals with your bodily injury claim is looking at all the facts, they're going to look at the pictures of the car, they're going to look at how much it costs to get it fixed. If it was just a little tap, they're going to say, hey, your injury shouldn't be this bad. We're going to deny your claim. We're going to say that you overtreated because you really only needed a little bit of treatment. It was just a little tiny accident. Whereas if it was a big smash, no airbags, front end crushed, and they say, okay, this is a pretty bad accident. Maybe we'll put a little bit more on this claim. But that's why you get an attorney. Because even if it was just a smaller bump, that doesn't mean you were injured. It's just insurance companies will do anything they can to devalue and deny your claim. And property damage comes into play in a couple different ways. If you're in a relatively newer car and you get hit, there's something called a diminished value claim, which basically means you have a newer car and now it's worth less because it's been in an accident. So we don't do property damage for all of our clients, but we will get involved if they're getting an unfair deal. So for example, I had a client that had a diminished value claim. She was offered about $280, saying, that's how much less your car is worth now because it was in an accident. However, she'd been at a stoplight, was hit from the back end, and pushed into another car. She had front and back damage. She was having ongoing electrical issues. The car was shutting off on the interstate while she was driving down the road. So we're like, no. $280 is not enough to deal with how messed up this car is and the fact that she's afraid in it. So as an attorney, I knew that she had a right to an appraisal, which basically means you can say to the insurance company, hey, I don't agree with you. Let's get this thing appraised by an independent party. And we ultimately got her $4,000 in the diminished value as opposed to the $280 she was offered.
So how does a person really know that they need a lawyer? Like that, okay, this is happening. They tell you move the car off if it's a minor. I'm like, if I'm in an accident, I'm standing right here on this highway, right here, right where it happened. If that's okay, I don't know. But anyway, when do you know if you need a lawyer or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And just side note, if you're in an accident and you're in the middle of the road, stay if it's safe, move if you're going to get hit again.
Oh,
and take pictures. Take pictures of everything.
Okay.
More pictures, better.
See, I'm not the attorney, y'all, so y'all listen to the attorney folk, not me.
I mean, if you're in danger, move. But, the best way to know if you need a lawyer, so if you were the person that hit somebody, as a lawyer, I won't be able to assist you because I'm a plaintiff lawyer. Call your insurance company. They have lawyers that they hire to defend you if you rear-ended something. But if you think, hey, this wasn't really my fault, I don't think I was at fault, I mean, the next step after that is if you were at fault is, are you injured? Do you have an injury? Do you have aches? Do you have pain? Did you go to the hospital? Did you just go to an urgent care? All of these things are recoverable. If it was just a little collision, you're like, nah, I'm fine, we're good. Figure your property damage out, get it done, move on with your life. You don't necessarily need an attorney. But if you're injured, you have treatment, give us a call. Most all consults at Hunter and Everett are free consultation. We'll talk to you, and even if it's something that we don't think we necessarily can help you with, we'll still try to point you in the right direction so that you know where to go.
Excellent. And we do have a studio audience question. Judith says, I had an accident in 20 2004, suffered with nerve damage. Up to this present day, I have physical problems and no justice was served. What is your take on this, Attorney Sarah?
So some of it depends on what state the accident occurred in. Different states have different things called a statute of limitations, which means there's a limited amount of time in which you can file a lawsuit against the party that hit you. So in North Carolina, the statute of limitations for auto accidents are 3 years. So basically, anything that happened prior to 2019, unless a lawsuit has already been filed, unfortunately, it's too late. And obviously, this is my opinion without knowing the whole facts. So I can only speak to the limited amount of information available. But generally, you have to act within that 3-year period or you will be out of luck, unfortunately. Ms. Jacobs, you're muted. Yeah, sorry.
I'm muted, so I'm you had a little static going over there. Now I'm muted, so this whole show is gonna be like bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, pay me no attention. So my final question to you, Attorney Sarah, is what other kind of things do you all focus on outside of accidents? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So we obviously do car accident cases. We take other types of injury cases as well. You've heard on the job, we do workers' compensation cases. We also do dog bite cases and slip and fall, which don't seem like there'd be a lot of them. There's more than you think. I feel like there's so many people slipping in Harris Teeters these days, like slipping on chicken grease, slipping on water, blow your mind. Also, a lot of people like to let their dogs walk around without leashes. You cannot do that in Charlotte. So if you get bit by a dog, give us a call. We also do some limited employment situations as well.
Wow. Okay, everyone, listen, this is Attorney Sarah Knox, and she's representing Hunter Everidge Law Firm today, one of our episode sponsors. So here's how you can stay connected with them. Make sure you give them the phone number in the Charlotte area so they know how to be able to stay connected to you all. I'll put it up for you as well. Here you are.
Yeah, you can give us a call at 704-377-9157, or you can even email me directly at sak@hunter-everidge.com.
Okay, so thank you so much, Attorney Sarah, for joining us today. Hunter Everidge Law Firm, we absolutely appreciate your sponsorship and partnership with the Kim Jacobs Show. And so we will hopefully have you all joining us again soon. Right after this commercial break, I see some more. Of course, y'all gonna wait till they get ready to go off and ask more questions, but here's the thing. Yeah, okay. So what I'll do is transition to our commercial and then come back with Portia Mystique Steele. Sarah, thank you so much for being with us today. And stay right there until we get ready to transition from this commercial break. We'll be right back.
CTR Media Network was created for today's podcasters. We provide a safe haven for content creators that are everyday people doing extraordinary things. We have a system of positioning, monetization training, coaching, and support for our podcasters' success. CTR Media Network simply bridges that gap with a level playing field for your dreams to come true cost effectively. Our team provides a premium service and experience for our podcasters to grow. CTR Media Network provides access, support, resources, coaching, and community for our podcasters to win, if you put in the work. We believe that we are living in a unique time which requires you to share your message of hope with millions of people around the world. Remember that the world is never too saturated for you, your voice and message. A platform for positive, impactful media where the content creators are in the driver's seat. Visit our website today by going to www.ctrmedianetwork.com.
Everyone, we're back and we're talking with Portia Mystique Steele. Now, she, as we picked up, right, we're going to pick up where we left off. Now, this woman was in Pittsburgh. Tell them in a nutshell, maybe they may be just joining, some of them. So tell them, like, fast forward to where you are now.
Born and raised, Pittsburgh, PA. We actually moved to California when all this happened. So the move to California was when I was 16. So after 16, life turned crazy, sexual abuse, dealing with all that, spiraled out of control. Meanwhile, dating a guy online for 5 years, secretly online banking, just making money as a freelance editor. Me and my eldest sister, we book it. We leave middle of the night, I hop on a plane, fly to Nigeria to see the guy that I've been dating online for 5 years. The day I arrived, he proposed. We got married. I'm living here with him in Nigeria right now. My sister is living her best life in Indiana, and she is actually about to graduate from a game art design program. So she's going to have her degree in game art design. I'm so very proud of her.
I am so proud of her too. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of both of you. And I cannot believe that you went to Nigeria from Pittsburgh and literally ran into the arms of the man that is now your husband to this day. And you met him and dated him secretly online, and he was everything you hoped he would become. God has really smiled on you. Wow. I'm proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. So now tell us about this independent publishing company.
Yes. So Mystique Rose Publishing, which is a name that my husband came up with, actually. So in Mystique Rose Publishing, we take coaches and we transform their messaging and combine it with their story to publish impactful books that they can use in their business to generate income, but more importantly, more influence and impact. So I love what I do because you guys know my story now. And you see how impactful your story is, especially as a coach. There's not a single coach out there that doesn't come from an awesome story. So it's important for coaches to be able to use that story in a book to take them to that next level, to where they want to go. Coaches who are playing small, who are ready to do big things, go above and beyond and step into thought leadership. You do it with a book. And that's what I help them create.
I am so excited about that. Now, how can people stay connected with you to get your services?
Yes. Well, you can email me at Portia@MystiqueRosePublishing.com. Notice that Mystique is spelled like my middle name. So there is a C in there. There's no C in the word Mystique, but it is in my name. So it is spelled like my middle name, MystiqueRosePublishing.com. Or you could text or call at 901-205-9804.
Now, also, I noticed that you keep saying independent publishing versus self-publishing. So what's the difference between those from your perspective?
Oh, Miss Kim, you're going to get me started. So now self-publishing, really, everybody knows, it's just when you go through the process of creating, producing, and publishing a book by yourself. You're not using a traditional publisher like Harper or Simon & Schuster or Penguin, Random House. You're not using any of those people.
Right.
Self-publishing and independent publishing is literally the same thing, but it has a different name. I choose to say independent publishing because self-publishing got such a bad rap nowadays, because after KDP came out, that's Kindle Direct Publishing by Amazon.
Yes.
Once they gave people the ability to publish their own books, they were slapping together some random janky book and they said, yeah, I'm a self-published author. That's great. I'm not here.
I thought I was the only one that said janky, but now I met my match. So you say it too. Okay.
Yes. So for me, it's we don't do that. You know, I'm a perfectionist and I have very high standards in everything. So it's only true for books, right? And so I insist that we don't just put together some messed up, book and we just throw it together and put it on KDP. We take the time to put in the work and the high quality. And so I like to focus on independent publishing, because too many people are saying self-publishing and they really just mean DIY. Self-publishing to me is synonymous with DIY publishing. No, we don't want DIY. We want independent publishing. You did it yourself, but you outsourced the things that you couldn't do on your own. And that's what Mystique Rose is about. So people come to us to outsource to get the high quality production. And I do the coaching for coaches. So I help coaches with that story, extract it, put it in a book, produce and publish it.
Excellent. I am so proud of you and all that you've already accomplished on this journey. What's next for you, Portia Mystique still?
Kids!
Why didn't I already know that would be the answer, but I could not. Oh man, I feel like I wasn't prepared for that, right? Because I should have thought that would be automatically the answer, right? But now, okay. So when do you plan on starting a family in that regard?
Okay, so wait, I think we messed up here. So I said TEDx, but family, yes.
Oh, did you say TEDx?
TEDx.
Oh, girl, I thought you said kids.
I love it too. You just jumping straight into it. That's what you want.
That's what I want for you, right? So I'm in my
Yes,
own
right.
world. This is a perfect example that people hear what they want to hear. Okay. Because I thought I heard kids. You talking about TEDx like TEDx
TEDx.
talks?
Yes, ma'am.
Girl, okay. Let me put my glasses back on.
Okay.
Girl, I thought you said something altogether
We're
different.
getting there. We're getting there. We're still very happy in our marriage, and so we're both achieving the things that we want to achieve individually and as a couple. And then once we're there and we're happy, then we can start popping out them babies. Because I do want
People are laughing at me, by the way. They're like, oh, Kim Kim is in her own show over there in her own world. Tina says, such an amazing story. Portia, you're awesome.
You.
Pamela said, she is speaking your future into existence. Kids. Okay, y'all. So what's down the pike right now for Portia Mystique still is TEDx. How does TEDx sound like kids? It sounds nothing like kids. I just heard what I wanted to hear. This man proposed to you. He was your secret person, and y'all are together. All I can think about is how wonderful this is. I love this story. So kids have to be in the future, right?
They do, and we're very excited, but we need to get situated.
Enjoy your lives, and you know what? I know I was married for 5 years before we ever had kids. So you want to enjoy each other, and really just secure your dating and your newfound love. So TEDx, what would you talk about at TEDx?
So I'm going to be talking about how you can literally write your story in order to define your identity, which is what I did. Like coming out of the household that I was in, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. Then I immediately got married after I left that situation. It was great. It's beautiful. I love my marriage. But in that, I didn't leave time to figure out who I am. I went from being this daughter that they wanted me to be, that I was expected to be, to coming to a new culture. So here I am thinking I have to learn how to be Nigerian. I have to adopt Igbo culture. My husband is Igbo. I have to adopt Igbo culture. I have to be like this wife that I think they want me to be. I didn't know who I was. So it wasn't until I physically wrote out my story that I was able to rebuild my identity.
Well, you know what? Your story, even though I know it's a whole different story, it sounds like many people I have to do the same thing. I need to take some time to just rebuild my story because who I am has been so wrapped up into being a wife, being a mother, being a pastor's wife, being a business owner, being a nonprofit organization, being a mom of special needs, all kinds of hats. Actually, a heavy supporter of everybody else and everything that everyone has going on. And then I'm like, Kim, some kind of way you gotta also just identify Kim in the midst of all of these things that you balance, right?
I think and I also think it really boils down to expectations. Because for me, that was like the common denominator. Not just these are the hats that I'm wearing, yeah, for sure. But what is putting us down, what's holding us and keeping us down are the expectations that people have of us. So my expectation of being the submissive daughter, or people expecting me to, like my siblings, expecting me to be strong and emotionless and be there for them when they need me, or the expectation of being the submissive wife, and my husband's Catholic, and the expectation of becoming that Catholic wife. It was a whole thing. And those expectations are what actually define us. And it isn't until we physically write our story that we can then look at it objectively and say, hold up, who I've been being this whole time is just a culmination of all the expectations that everybody has put on me my whole life.
Yep.
So
but at this point, you want to be, and so when people step out, Portia, it's interesting because, and somebody in the studio audience, you may attest to this, but when people finally start being different, than what people have seen you to be or expected you to be. And you're like, no more of that. You know what? When the rubber meets the road, certain things I've done my whole life. And now it's like I've made some conscious decisions, or I might not have all of way yet, but I will be making some conscious decisions that look at the big picture here, Kim. You're everywhere. You're doing it what everybody is expecting. And flip it back. When you are in a situation, then where are those same people in your life?
Exactly.
That's very important, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because
It is.
I do believe in I do for you, you do for me. I don't believe in I just do everything for you and you don't do nothing. What in the world?
Exactly.
What in the world? No,
And
thank
that's
you.
what
I don't
people
want that kind of
expect.
friendship or relationship that I have to do it all and you don't have to play any role. You just always get.
Mm-hmm. It's
No.
true. We need
So
that. We don't need
so
that.
so Portia, what other advice do you give people that are trying to find themselves? Because I really, as I'm hearing you, I know you're talking about achieving your goals, independent book publishing, but really when I hear your story, I feel like you had to find yourself.
I did, and that's part of what my TEDx is about. The way to find yourself is to write your story,
To
and
write your
I
story.
don't
Okay.
mean journaling. I mean like literally write your memoir. If you publish it or not, that's fine. That's on you. But write your memoir because what'll happen is you'll actually start to see that you are writing these specific moments in your life, and as you read back these moments to yourself, you're gonna detach the emotion away from it. So when you were
Mm,
living in it, the emotion was raw, it was there. And so how you perceive that later on, it's just based on your emotion.
that's
You don't
good.
really care about what actually happened. All you care about is how you feel about what happened. So when
Right.
you write it, you detach emotion so you can look at what actually happened. Now you focus on, well, how have I been being in my whole life based on this thing that happened? And then you can say to yourself, oh, but I don't like that. The way I've been being, I don't want to be that anymore. Now I
And
can
you
see
can
what happened.
change it.
It happened. You can change it. You can't
Right.
change what happened. That's always going to be there. But you can remove the emotion and the way you view life because of what happened. Forget the emotion. Yes, it happened. For me, yes, the abuse was there. That happened to me.
Right.
Now, I can either take what happened and view life like I can't trust my husband. I don't want to have daughters because my husband is there. I can live
Right.
life with that lens, and I don't want to.
That's good.
So instead, I wrote the story and I looked at the story and said, okay, this is what happened, but that doesn't have to mean all this other stuff that I'm making it mean. And so from there, I rebuilt my identity. So who I was when I was living in that house is not at all who I am right now. And I refuse to go back to that person or to that situation.
Wow. I love it. It's inspiring. And so many people are learning from what you're sharing today. Listen, we're going to be having some more episodes coming up throughout the week, but I want you to know how to stay connected with the Kim Jacobs Show. If you all are looking and you're like, how do I stay connected outside of when I see you on certain platforms? Here's what you can do. Go like and follow The Kim Jacobs Show on Facebook. Take a moment today and go and just like and follow. And then even turn your notifications on. So when we're going live, you get notified right away. And then you can also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Kim Jacobs Show. Turn your notification bell to all, and you will receive an alert when we go live. If you're interested in starting your own show and telling your story to people like you see me doing here on The Kim Jacobs Show, then make sure you visit kimjacobsconsulting.com. I will work with you 1 hour per week for 6 weeks and help you create your own show where you'll own your own content at the end of everything. So make sure you visit kimjacobsconsulting.com. All right, what are any closing comments that you have, Portia?
I'm just so happy. This is amazing. Closing comments. So I know people who are listening and you hear my story and you probably are present to the way that I tell it and how I can speak so openly. That's because I've come to terms with it.
Right.
So for those who are in the situation that I'm in, write it down, write your memoir. I don't care where you are in life. I'm 29. What do I look like 29 years old writing a memoir? It doesn't matter. I'll write another one when I'm 60 and another one when I'm 80. Write your memoir now.
That's
Write
good.
it.
That's
Then you'll be
really
able to
good
look at it.
advice. That's really good advice. Really good. I see all of your comments coming in, and Anita Walker, I see you doing the hang loose type of sign. Manifesting TEDx for Portia. Awesome story. I am also claiming and believing God to make your dream come true of you being a TEDx speaker. Please share it with us when you do get to that stage so we can check it out, because it will happen. I will do so now, Thelma said, and someone said, right, you can allow your traumatic experiences to affect you in a negative way or in a positive way.
Facts.
And I agree. I agree. There's so many things that's happened along my life. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to blast people or tear them down. I just want to live my life that God created for me to live. So blessings, Lady Kim. Blessings to you, Thelma. Aisha Balance. Okay. I sent Sir Les Brown an email about two. Can you check on it, please? Yes, I'll be happy to check on it, Thelma, for sure. Greetings from Jamaica, and I'll make sure that they know that him and his team knows about your email, Thelma. All right, all right. The law of reciprocity, and yes, Kim, that's a very important point. Yes, folks fall off when you change for the better. That's really
They
unfortunate.
do.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
another thing Pamela said is people don't like when they cannot manipulate you or continue to tell you who you are. Oh, I see lots of jokes about your
True.
kids, the future kids. Hey, they travel for free. Somebody said,
Dude.
yes, the little kids travel. Anyway, that's if they sit in your lap. Now, Mike, I like you pick up a seat. Because I mean, you determined and doing all this. I did that with every one of my children. When they got the free seat, we had them travel in my lap or whatever. But I'm like, man, I should have just got a ticket, because these kids,
Yeah.
my thighs all raw by the time they finish shaking their hips.
You'd be flying from Nigeria back home to the US, and that's like 11 to 14-hour flight. I'm not holding.
No, under no circumstances. So if you were able to say anything about your family now, how are you all as a family unit with all of your siblings and everyone? Do you all ever get back together, or how is life?
So my mom and the majority of my siblings have left, so I am speaking with them, and we have a great relationship. I'm very proud of us, how us siblings, we reconnected after my sister and I left. We were so disconnected, but once they left, we were able to reconnect, and we have like sibling Zoom parties and stuff. So it's nice. And then my mom, she's still my best friend. I thought I lost her when I left, but I didn't. She's still there. She's still my best friend and my biggest cheerleader. So that's amazing. I don't talk to my dad anymore, and I don't talk to one of my other sisters, but that's their choice, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I just don't want toxicity. So I'm all right with that. I got the people in my life who should be there.
All right. Well, I just wanted to hear at least, the ending to that story, because I know people were asking in the studio audience. And listen, everybody, make sure you all be a part of pouring into the Kim Jacobs Show. And you can do that through Cash App. You can do it through PayPal, Patreon membership, whatever way. Just support the program so that we can continue to provide this level of programming each weekday at 11 o'clock a.m. All right. So I know that we're going to close out. Portia, you are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Thank you. And
you.
one more time, how people can stay connected with you. Go ahead and tell them.
Yes, you can send me an email at Portia@MystiqueRosePublishing.com. That's Mystique with a C. Or call and text me directly at 901-205-9804. You can also Google my name. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Just Google me.
And definitely you will find Mystique. You're not going to find, it's not too many people walking around with that name for sure. All right. So
but you have to add the accent mark. Sorry, you have to add the accent mark to my name. Otherwise, you'll get cars.
Oh, that's interesting. Add that accent. Okay. Amen. Good for you, Portia. Someone says, Miss Sid Berry says. Moses said, good evening, everyone. I'm watching from Nigeria. So okay. And Pamela said, Portia is a beautiful person who is wonderful to work with. She's a good listener and full of wisdom. All right.
Coach Pam. She's incredible. She's an incredible woman.
Oh, and they say thank you for telling your story, Portia. This was so amazing.
Thank you.
All right, that's our episode today, everyone. Make sure you tune in to the Kim Jacobs Show Facebook page or YouTube channel for the rest of the week. And I will share with you, we're going to have Tone X, international comedian. Everybody knows Tone X. Y'all, he's going to be over on the Kim Jacobs Show Facebook page and YouTube channel on this week on Wednesday. Make sure that you all check it out. And on Thursday, we have Janine Dutsy Gary, and she's talking about mother. Please talk to me about menopause. Y'all, menopause, we need to know about that. So make sure y'all tune in on Thursday to hear about menopause. All right, we'll pop any more of your comments up as we close out, because I have to close out this broadcast. I do want to say today is National Day of Praise and Worship. The National Day of Praise and Worship is recognized today by Christians around the United States and around the world on this day of praise and worship. It was established in the year of 2020 by Derek Wallace. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great one. This was awesome. I'll see y'all. Stay. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.